sure you know every time I go live, you also have to make sure that you hit the notification bell as well. We had some interesting fights this weekend. I was actually very entertained by both fight cards. And unfortunately, the WBC has hit a new low. I'm going to talk about that first and then get into how it relates to this past weekend's fight cards. If you don't know, now you know. This is Punchlines. Again, hit the like button. Here we go.
Gorilla than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even got to taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even got to chase.
And I'm back. So here we go. WBC, World Boxing Council. What can I say? First of all, let me admit something. I grew up kind of really idolizing WBC champions, looking at that green and gold beautiful belt and always kind of putting it at the height of at least what I thought was sporting accomplishment when I was growing up. You'd see a WBC champion like, man, that's the man. Honestly, when I was a kid, I that was the belt, not the Ring Magazine belt. I mean, nowadays people talk about the Ring Magazine belt. I actually have a lot of problems with that kind of system as well. A magazine running a sport or a championship. I don't know if that's necessarily the model that we want to be following, but yeah, I mean, throughout history, some of my favorite fighters have been WBC champions. Lennox Lewis, up to now. Very recently, Dimitri Bivol. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Arthur Beterbiev. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I started to think this weekend and today, when did things really go bad? Or when did I really notice that they were going bad? I gotta say that it might have been the $30 million judgment that led to their bankruptcy. I think that raised some alarm bells when it happened. Uh, when they basically handed Roy Jones Jr. a title belt that didn't belong to him. So you could pinpoint that. I could pinpoint that as a point in history. But I think a very recent point in history for most people, especially if you're like me, born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, maybe a little younger than that, uh, the whole franchise belt was a little bit of a debacle. Um, so I would actually say more than a debacle. So there's that. I don't think a lot of people could really explain that. That would cause somebody to say, "Wow, yeah, things have not really been good at the WBC." So here is one moment from time, not too long ago. I'm sure some of you this will raise alarm bells, or you'll remember uh, this moment in time. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen. This is Mauricio Suleiman talking about the franchise title. Here we go.
Canelo was the franchise champion at 160, moved up to 168. Now he just holds the normal WBC world title. What is the situation or the circumstances around that? Because if Canelo wanted to, could he have carried the title up to 168 and been a franchise champion at super middleweight as well? Or is there some different rules? Can you just explain to people?
Yes, sure. The franchise designation is a rule that gives only a very selected fighters benefits and special conditions. Canelo could have chosen to continue using that designation. Instead, he decided he wanted to win the super middleweight WBC championship. When Benavidez lost the title on the scale.
So the franchise title was bullshit. right? The franchise title was a trinket created by the WBC that even Canelo didn't want, right? To take sanctioning fees out of the pockets of fighters. I mean, that was my understanding of it. So we had franchise titles, interim titles, even though there's an active champion, right? We have interim titles. Uh it's just not a good look, and it couldn't have come at a worse time either, with the WBC coming under attack because of the entry into the sport of boxing by none other than TKO. Um and its desire to create its own title. Well, I got news for you guys. It may be kind of surprising to some, but I actually don't even think that that would be worse than the WBC. In fact, I'll just say it. I think the WBC is worse than TKO at this point. Uh, which brings me to case in history number 3. So we had the $30 million lawsuit that they didn't pay because they claimed poverty. We had the franchise title. And then we had the issue of just outright anti-Russian xenophobia. That if you're Russian, you can't compete for titles. You can't be ranked. You can't essentially be recognized. You can't have your country announced, country of origin. Your national anthem can't be played. I mean, these were the rules that the WBC has been enforcing. It was so bad that even when when Dmitry Bivol fought Beterbiev in Saudi, they wouldn't even tell us where the champions were from. So we've got $30 million lawsuit. We've got franchise titles. We've got xenophobic policy. And now we have, I mean, it's just silly season at this point. You have a WBC 126-pound champion in Stephen Fulton Jr. moving up in weight to fight the WBC 130-pound champion in O'Shaq Foster. And when he doesn't make weight, he blows the weight, and they give him a title shot at 135. How is that possible? How is it possible for an active champion at 126 to leapfrog a division and be awarded with a title shot just because he missed weight at 130? I mean, it's nonsensical. And the funny thing is, and this is why it probably is a hot take for you, Virtuoso, but I happened to catch the UFC main event this past Saturday. And don't ask me how I ended up watching it, but I ended up watching it. I don't ever typically watch UFC, but it was on and I ended up watching it. And I couldn't help but notice that the main event featured a Georgian based out of Nassau County here in New York facing a Russian. Russian got to announce where he was from. Russian got to fly his flag. Russian got to speak his language after the fight. There was no issues there, as there shouldn't be. Because regardless of the politics of whatever country someone is from, when it comes to sport, you're supposed to just look at that person as an athlete, right? I could agree with the special military operation and what Russia's doing right now, and that shouldn't affect my ability to fight. Or I could not express any view on the matter at all, and that shouldn't affect my ability to fight. But for whatever reason, it affected the WBC's decision to allow people to fight. Taking money off of their table, restricting their income in the peak years of their careers. And for what? So at this point, yeah, I'm putting TKO Group up here. You can't even see where I'm putting the WBC. It's like somewhere down there under my feet on my hardwood floor. That is what the WBC is hit at that point, at this point. And if that couldn't be enough, we also have the issue of the Terrence Crawford situation. I'm sorry. Why does Crawford owe you any percentage of anything? He didn't agree to it. He doesn't want to defend your belt. He was never going to continue fighting at 168 pounds. Why should he have to give you a pound of flesh? Also, why is a sanctioning fee for Crawford Canelo greater than the sanctioning fee for a flyweight title fight in Southeast Asia? Really, like, what's the reason for that? Why would the sanctioning fee be any different? There should be a standard sanctioning fee that covers the cost of whatever regulatory duties the WBC has to do for the fight. I'm sorry, but if there's a 108-pound WBC title fight in Johannesburg, South Africa, why is the sanctioning fee for that this, and the sanctioning for Crawford is that? Well, somebody explain that to me. They're not his manager. They're not his agent. So why exactly are they demanding these percent? Oh, you know, we didn't ask for the full 3%. Who the hell told you were allowed to have any percent? Why is he responsible for giving you, you know, the money that it costs to buy a couple houses in Omaha for the fact that you fought Canelo? Based on what? And then you're going to say, oh, well, you know, there's the WBC Cares program and we have to fund it. I'm pretty sure Crawford can fund his own charitable situations himself. I'm pretty sure that if Terrence Crawford wants to be charitable to kids and the elderly and, you know, disabled refugees in need of legal support, if that's something he wants to do, he'll do it himself. He doesn't need the WBC stepping in and taking 6-figure pounds of flesh out of purses that he's worked hard his entire career in order to get. Why? I don't know. Somebody's got to explain some of this to me. Let's hear what Terrence Crawford had to say. Let's have a look. Let's have a listen. Here we go.
Him $300,000 plus another $100K something. Apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Well, you better slap your fucking self. Ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. The fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanctioned bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanctioned bodies agreed to the same amount But you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you. The fuck? You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway. The fuck am I paying you every time I step foot in?
Well, there you have it. Couldn't have said it better myself. I don't think he should have to pay them anything. Look, if it's a charitable organization, right? Why don't they go to the sponsors to cover their sanctioning fees? Why don't they go around to the billionaire class, asking for donations to fund their charitable operations? Why is your whole business structure built off of the backs of fighters and sanctioning fees? I can't support this. I can't support this. And if defending the sport of boxing from UFC and TKO and Tony Khan and WWE and all of this other stuff means supporting the WBC, I'm going to sit that one out. Because I'm not supporting the WBC, the WBO, the WBA, the IBF, any of these sanctioning bodies at this point. And I'm not saying, again, that the Ring magazine is the solution. I honestly, I don't really know what the solution is. Maybe the IBA? I don't know. Maybe the IBA should have a world title. Maybe they do it like that. I actually like the IBA more than I like any of these other organizations. So it's a weird one. Here is, if you're interested, and if you're not, I apologize. But if you're interested in what Terrence Crawford was referring to, I'm pretty sure he was referring to this. Oh, hold on. Here we go.
Up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000 with 220.
You sound like a mafioso. Well, we made a very clear, percent. It's only $300,000. Only $300,000. Again, like, why don't you collect the $300,000 from Corona and Tecate and Bud Light and whatever other corporation is sponsoring these events? Well, why are you basing it off of that? And again, I'd like to see what the costs of sanctioning a fight are, and what exactly gets paid and for what reason. Because I said, the WBC sanctions lower weight class fights in Africa, in places even like Nicaragua, in Southeast Asia. They're not charging $300,000 to sanction those fights. So what is it? Is it the cost of the lodging in San Antonio or where the past weekend's fight card was? Or the cost of lodging in Las Vegas? Is it the difference in taxi costs, in per diem meal allowances for eating out when you're doing your charitable business? I don't really understand it personally. I would like to see an accounting of what these fees are being spent on. And I don't want to hear about, oh, well, the WBC is doing so much for fighters. They love fighters. They take care of fighters. Guys, ask yourself this question. What fighter have you ever heard, got tremendous support from the WBC? I don't know. It could be the case. Maybe a guy was on his deathbed. Maybe a guy was, destitute, and the WBC pay the hospital bill, I guess, or that's what Oscar said they do. Oscar De La Hoya. I haven't seen these reports. If you've seen them, please share them with me. Maybe a fighter is down on his luck and the WBC throws him some money. I don't know, pays his rent for a couple months. What exactly are they doing? Because that's how now they're justifying these sanctioning fees. So, yeah, I mean, it's been franchise titles and Russia bans and interim titles and, you miss weight, now you get an interim title shot immediately in the higher weight class. I mean, guys, I don't know how anybody could co-sign this, right? And it just seems to me like at this point they're making up numbers as they go along when it comes to the money that they're taking out of fighters' pockets. I don't know. It's a weird one for me, but how anyone could support it. But I'm seeing a couple of people supporting it here. Not Virtuoso. Virtuoso says world boxing corruption. That's a fact. Alexander says the problem with the WBC is their bylaws. There's a clause where the board can meet and change the rules and guidelines of the WBC at any moment. That's a huge problem. Yes, it is a huge problem. I believe the clause specifically says something to the effect of every bylaw or rule is at the sole discretion of the WBC. So it's like an escape clause, right? It's like you sign an agreement to, purchase a house, and it's at your own discretion, I guess. No, I don't know any other area of contract or organizing that functions like this. But hey, I'm not an expert in these matters. Alex says they stopped doing the franchise title like 4 years ago. I know. And it never made sense, and it only led to confusion, right? Loma was the franchise title, and Teofimo Lopez beat him. And at the same time, Devin Haney was the lightweight champion. And because of that, and to Teofimo's annoyance, he's not officially in the record books as an undisputed champion, right? You heard it from Suleiman himself. Even Canelo didn't want to be part of that. He threw it away and said he wanted the real WBC title. Virtuoso, thank you for stopping by. How's it going? Virtuoso, actually it says no connection for Virtuoso. Hopefully Virtuoso can come back. So there you go. Virtuoso says that that was a hot take. He was referring to me saying that WBC is worse than TKO. I think it is worse than TKO at this point. Mauricio and the WBC are playing right into the hands of the TKO. I agree. At the Congress hearing, they used the Bud WBC issue as a reason why the Ali Act needs to be changed. Wow. There you go. Yeah, and Virtuoso, you said that you watched the Peter Yan Davashvili fight. Yeah, I caught it, and I'll be honest, it was entertaining, but also what was refreshing was to see someone not have to hide who he is and where he's from and the flag of the place where he's from. I mean, it's not like he's the citizen of an enemy state like Japan or Germany, right? He's a citizen of one of the victors of the Great Patriotic War, which we call the Second World War. Go for it, Virtuoso. How's it going? Virtuoso going once. Virtuoso going twice. Not too sure what's going on with Virtuoso. Virtuoso tuned in here last week, and it was seemed to be working fine. So I don't know what there you go. We have don't know quite how to say that one. El Tugut. Tutgute says he signed the contract. It's that simple. I don't know what contract he signed or if he signed a contract. I don't really know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't really know. I don't really know. Salute Batman Boxing. Alexander Wilson says that Gerald McClellan has gotten support from the WBC. Well, there's one case that I'll have to look into. Matter of fact, we can do that in real time. Let's see what kind of support is is uh is known as it relates to this. Let's see. Why don't we check out actually I'm not going to use that when it takes too long to log in. Yeah. Uh, oh, you're here. You're here. All right. Thank you, virtual.
Yo,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear.
I lost your connection again, virtual. So I don't know what's going on. You keep losing connection. Well, virtuoso's sorting that out. I'm gonna look up right here in an AI chat box. Um, what support did the WBC give Gerald? Doing this in real time, ladies and gentlemen. McClellan? Question mark. Let's see what it has to say. Virtuoso, are you there? Virtuoso going once, Virtuoso going twice. Virtuoso isn't with us tonight, unfortunately. So there you go. As for the fight itself, I might as well talk about that before I dip up out of here. Um, I thought the fight was an okay fight. Pitbull, Cruz, and Lamont Roach. I don't think it was a robbery though. I thought it was a pretty close fight. Personally, I felt that uh, Lamont Roach might have nudged it by 2 points. But to be quite honest with you, I felt it was reasonably close. I don't know how close you guys had it. I know Larry Hazard had it really close the night of the fight. Um, but I don't know how you guys had it. I thought it was a relatively close fight. It was an entertaining fight. The Shock Foster fight was a total one-sided domination. Honestly, it didn't even look like Stephen Fulton Jr. even really trained for that fight. Jesus Ramos, I thought, didn't look as good as I thought he would. I thought he was going to be a little bit more dominant against Shane Mosley Jr. And there you go,
Yo,
Virtuoso. Yes,
all right, man. So
go.
yeah, man. I was just talking about this very topic with Joe on Saturday, right? And I basically brought up the situation with Dimitri Bivol. You remember when he got stripped, right? Apparently he too stopped paying sanctioning fees, right? And Mauricio claimed that he knew how much he made based on the idea that he had this access to this commission data for the rematch in Saudi, right? So, but let's fast forward to this past week, right? When Crawford went live, he said he accuses Mauricio of speculating how much he made against Canelo. I've heard like, yeah, roughly 50 million, right? But do we know that for sure unless we have access to that data? Not quite. So I'm wondering, does he have also have knowledge of this commission data for the Nevada State Athletic Commission, because they also report the ticket sales, how much the amount of money that was paid out to the fighters via the purses, right? So unless he has proof that he has um, a contract, right, that stipulates how much they agreed to, right, in terms of the percentages, then okay, they might have a point there. And let me just say this also, right? Let's say it's actually true that Dana White or Turkey Al Sheikh is using Terrence Crawford or the Ring Magazine belt to drive a wedge between them, the fighters, and the sanctioning bodies. Even if that were the case, right? Even if Dana White was coaching them on how to rant about this issue, who looks worse this past week? Dana White, Turkey Al Sheikh, or the WBC? It's pretty simple.
WBC 100%.
Yeah.
They've got no leg to stand on. I'm sorry,
bro. They try to put. Listen, Mauricio. Right. Mauricio literally tried to paint Crawford as a cheapskate. Meanwhile, they sanctioned a fight between Matias and Dalton Smith when this guy reportedly tested positive for ulcering, and they let him fight. Then the Ryan Garcia situation, and now this situation with Stephen Fulton. By the way, thank you to Oshaki Foster from stopping that travesty from happening, because he does not deserve. Stephen Fulton does not deserve a belt after missing weight. He does not.
No, absolutely not. And I hope Oshaki Foster didn't pay any sanctioning fees for that fight. He's not a lightweight. He's never expressed a desire to move up to lightweight. He wants
to fight Navarrete.
He wants to fight Navarrete. Why should he pay a sanctioning fee for an interim lightweight title that everyone knows is bullshit?
Yeah, and we don't know for certain if Shakur's going to move back down after the Teofimo fight.
So I looked up the stuff on Gerald McClellan. There is no public record of a total dollar figure for the support the WBC has given Gerald McClellan.
Right.
This is largely because much of the support comes in the form of ongoing private medical payments rather than a lump sum check. So, I mean, first of all, I guess that speaks volumes about the state of our medical system here, where you even need private donations to cover your medical costs. But that's another topic for another day. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So is that?
I don't mean to interrupt.
Is that what the WBC's whole purpose is for then? To pay the medical costs of people who live in countries where they don't get free medical support? So
I mean, apparently they're a charity.
I guess if you live in England or France or China or Canada or even Mexico, they have baseline medical care in Mexico. You don't get any WBC support when you retire.
Right.
Come on.
I mean, if I ever ran into Larry Holmes, God bless, if I ever get the chance, I would ask him, yo, do you get a pension from the WBC? Do you collect a check from them?
No, they don't. Nobody gets a check. I can't say nobody. I shouldn't say that. I don't know of anybody who gets a pension check through the WBC.
I mean, look, from what I heard, there's some anecdotes from certain people that do get help from the WBC, which is actually true. But that doesn't, to me, that doesn't negate the fact that they're doing all this fuckery on the side.
What are we living in? A patronage society? Some country where, well, it's not. I shouldn't speak too much about this because we're not. We don't have the greatest.
No, we don't.
We don't have the cleanest hands here. But I mean, there are many places in the world. I've had Lil Penny on this channel talk about it in the Philippines. I know for a fact it's like this in Central America. I used to live in Central America, where people are running for political office and they just hand out like small amounts of money to people just when they run, or they, give out food or clothing or patronage society stuff, right? Where the gran patron shows up once in a while and blesses the meek who live around them with a few dollars. Is that what the WBC is doing, Virtuoso? Because that's kind of what it's sounding like.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with as far as their funding is concerned in regards to this, but have you followed D-Style on Twitter by any chance? I
barely use Twitter. It's pretty cesspool to me at this point, but yes.
Understandable, but he put out a couple tweets in regards to the tax filings of the WBC, and I think there's a part where I think it was either line 6 or 8, where it's just like total donations to retirees or something like that, and they had a 0 on it.
Wow.
Just see it for yourself.
So there you go. I'm gonna go check it out. Let's hear from Ignacio. Ignacio, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, what's going on?
I'm good, Ignacio. How are you doing?
What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, just really quick, Maestro. Like, I kind of talked to Beeb yesterday on their show
Yeah.
about it because they got into it a little bit.
Mhm.
So the only thing I've seen in regards to Suleiman was that they put a video out. I saw it on Twitter early last week. According to what Suleiman himself said in the video, he never told Bud he was asking for 3%. According to him, he was only asking for 0.06 of a percent, which according to him, if his purse was 50 million bucks, it would equate to $300,000. So I understand Bud saying like, yeah, I'm not paying that shit. But then at the same time, my only issue is don't normally fighters before they sign up for a title fight, don't they aren't they approached by the organization saying, "Hey, all of these belts are on the line. We want our cut." Aren't you allowed to negotiate what the cut is going to be before the fight happens?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of fighters doing that. I've heard of Floyd doing that. I've heard of Canelo doing that. I don't know what the procedure is for doing that. I don't know if it's, you know, changes, if it's through purse bid or if it's an optional defense or unification. I don't really know, to be quite honest. Which honestly speaks volumes about the way our sport functions because so many of these things are like unknown even to keen observers of the sport. You know,
Yeah,
it's
like a lot of these fucking organizations are. It feels like they're like these. What do you call them? The stone cutters from The Simpsons. They're real secretive. Like they don't. You don't know nothing about them unless you're in the group yourself. That's what it feels like. Feels like they're real secretive and they're real mysterious
secret
about where the money goes.
right? And it's like they have these huge, like elaborate, expensive conventions, right? And like these tropical, exotic locations and these like 5-star venues.
Yeah,
And you know, you juxtapose that with like even Fortune 500 companies that are having meetings on Zoom and on Microsoft Teams and stuff. It's like, why do you need to go to these places and spend all this money to have a convention?
yeah.
You,
The
you're clearly just living it up.
the funny thing was too in the same video when the guy asked him, "So if he does give you the 300 grand, how is that broken up?" And
Yeah,
then that's when Suleiman said, "Oh well, 75% of that is going to go to the fund that we use to help fighters that are down on their luck and need our assistance." And
right.
then he said, "What do you do with the other 25%?" He's like, "Oh, that's to pay our like pay everything that are the expenses and everything
Yeah,
else."
the overhead costs
Yeah, the overhead costs.
conventions in resorts in Thailand and in
Exactly.
Mexico and
Yeah.
Yeah.
these
They
like
they get the money from the fighters and they spend it on themselves.
yes. Look, if they were real, they say that all of this stuff is for the fighters, right? Well, if it's for the fighters, then your source of funding shouldn't be the fighters.
Yeah.
You should be going out to corporations and rich people, or even people like us, right? Have your little commercials, your little drives, or whatever, your phone-ins. You know, I'm not, you guys. I'm sure.
Oh, come on, Maestro. You really want these dudes to hold a telethon?
Yeah, the telephone. Yeah, I was just about to.
Bro,
Yeah,
I was telling Joe,
I grew up
yo,
watching
go ahead, man.
New York public broadcasting PBS,
No.
and they always used to have like their telethons every now and again. You know, to fund Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow and all of these programs, and they'd have people calling in and pledging money. I'm sure you guys remember that.
Yeah,
Well,
of
that's,
course.
I mean, the only one I've ever seen is the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Lewis, yeah.
And even that felt like a scam.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. Virtuoso, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just telling Joe this. It's like, look, he never look Mauricio, and I'm gonna have to remind people like Mauricio never brought up this 401k plan or Jose Suleiman fund when Bivol got stripped. Again, it's all political. They don't crown champions based on merit. They do it based on market value. That's why Manny Pacquiao was allowed. to challenge for a WBC welterweight title against Barrios instead of Sulaiman Sissoko, who has been ranked number one for quite some time and has been in title eliminators? What is the point of holding a civil title? What is the point of all these classifications of the same damn belt in the same damn weight classes if
Let me
you're not going to order these fights?
and there's no consistency in the rules, right? Because David Benavidez is an interim champion. Remember, he won the WBC interim title against
Correct.
Gvozdyk, right?
Right.
And then he gets elevated automatically from interim to full champion.
Right.
So why isn't Christian Mbili the full champion right now at the 168? I was at the fight where he won the WBC interim super middleweight title. Right?
Wait, but didn't they just announce that him and Shiraz are going to fight for that belt?
Yeah, but why is
Yep.
he already the champion based on the Benavidez precedent I just established? And Benavidez wasn't the first one. If you've set a precedent where a guy fights for a vacant interim title, right? And as was the case with Gvozdyk and Benavidez, and then Bivol gets stripped and you elevate him the full champion, well, why is it any different for Christian Mbili? Why isn't Christian Mbili the full champion? Why isn't he defending his full championship against Hamza Shiraz? Why are they fighting for a vacant belt?
So
Right.
shouldn't he have defended that same belt against Lester Martinez recently?
I agreed. This is the worst part about it, Ignacio. It gets even worse. When he fought Lester Martinez, if you look at it, it said it was for the WBC interim title, but then it was scheduled for 10 rounds. When's the last time you heard of a championship being contested in a 10-round fight?
No, yeah.
I mean, they're just all over the place with their rules. They're very inconsistent. They do whatever they want, and it just seems very obvious to me, guys, that they just throw around these interim belts and franchise belts and diamond belts and Maya belts and Aztec belts. I'll be
Right.
honest, they make beautiful belts. There's no doubt about
Right.
that. They make the most beautiful belts in boxing. The artists they have in Mexico Lindo do a great job with those belts. I hope
Right.
For people in
Honestly, Mauricio should have been a belt designer instead of a head of a sanctioning body instead.
Yeah, but here's the
For
thing.
real.
To me, these belts are clearly just designed to secure fees. They're like Trojan horses.
They're not. They don't own it. You have to rent it basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically they're basically running a scam right now where they're taxing these fighters and they're not even guaranteed a title shot. You
No.
know, so
You're right. Go for it.
no, I mean, look. Lester Martinez and
And Billy.
and Billy should have been for a vacant title. If Bud Crawford was going to lead the division, which I knew he was going to do, then that should have been a vacant, and it could have been rid of the situation. They didn't. Mauricio didn't have to come out publicly with these statements at all. But you basically stained the reputation of pretty much the most reputable American champion that boxing has today. Just so you can, sanction these bouts with these guys who are bending the rules, like Matias and Ryan Garcia. But who am I to say? Because I don't run these organizations. They're illegitimate to me, and they're mostly driven through nepotism. To me, I think the IBF and the WBO are more reputable in my eyes. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
I actually agree with you on that. Look, I'm gonna share something with you guys. I actually put it out on my Instagram after the Hamza Shiraz fight against Berlanga. Because I was saying this before. I'm not just saying this now. Let's have a look at this, guys. Here we go. Well, let me put the volume on.
Challenger for the WBC Super.
But 2 weeks ago, we just saw Billy become interim champion.
The WBC interim super middleweight champion of the world, Christian Solid Mbili.
I hope you guys could catch that. Basically, I'm at a fight in Quebec City in the summer, where Christian and Billy gets a crazy knockout. Obviously, you could say what you will about where his opponent was at that point in his career. I get that. But Christian and Billy knocked him out. They hand him a WBC World Championship and then now announce him to be the interim champion. Only a few weeks go by, and I'm in Queens at the tennis stadium, and Hamza Shiraz knocks out Berlanga, and they're immediately saying that it's the number one a mandatory contender to Canelo. I mean, they're just all over the place. And now,
they show their hand.
And now, in Billy's having to fight for a vacant title, yo, you just made him an interim champion.
Yeah, they're very inconsistent. And let me address these people that are comparing the WBC to a fancy restaurant. I mean, I'm really getting sick of that analogy. Like Eddie Hearn and a few other people. Oh my God! Listen,
Bud
WBC
pulled a dine and dash. Bud pulled a dine.
Yeah, I gotta hear that shit all over. Like when this guy literally bought the groceries. Anyway, the WBC is a fancy restaurant, but guess what? Even if you have a reservation with them, they're gonna make you wait as long as they possibly want for you to wait. And besides, even if you don't want to go, their shitty catering is gonna come to you regardless. Just like they did with Madripoor and Bud. No one invited them there. I didn't hear anything about Bud petitioning the WBC to fight Fedora. They just showed up because they know the money is gonna be there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're the WBC, why wouldn't you show up? You're going to be flying first class, maybe even in a private jet. You're going to get a private chauffeur from the airport who's probably going to pick up all your luggage for you. He's going to drive you to a 5-star hotel where the concierge is going to check you into your suite and make sure that all your bags are up there and your pillows fluffed and nice and cool and the temperature is just right. You know, and then you're going to go down to the bar, you're going to drink all you want, eat all you want, go out to a nice 5-star restaurant, eat there too, take the car back to the hotel. You know, maybe they met a woman at the night, pay her some money, you know, go back to the suite.
Oh no. They are the woman. They are the woman. Because let me tell you, these WBC officials are tantamount
on the weekend like that.
Bro, they're tantamount to a fucking high-end prostitute. Literally, you have to fly them out and dine them and wine them. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
They're whores.
Yeah, they are. There's no other way of saying it, really. No, I mean they are a parasitic organism that lives off of its host, and we just got to call it what it is. The host is the fighter, and they're just blood-sucking mosquitoes. Literally. Yeah. And then they're complaining and whining and we don't get enough money. It's like the mosquito complaining to you that you didn't give them enough or give her because it's only the female mosquitoes that bite. That you didn't give her enough blood. Even though she's leaving you with a bump and an itch. It's like, what? So yeah, I'm a little tired of the WBC. And yeah, I know you felt that was a little bit of a hot take, Virtuoso, but I'll be honest, after watching Peter Yan, you know, post-fight interview at the UFC and the way they treated it, I'm like, this is way better than the WBC. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say it's way better than boxing, but it's way better than the WBC, especially if you look at the way they've treated fighters from that part of the world recently. So
yeah, for all the belly aching, listen, for all the belly aching I hear about the UBOs, all they're talking to Congress to rewrite the law to their favor. I'm like, listen, you do know that an existing sanctioning body can also become a UBO. Since Mauricio Suleiman likes to fancy himself as a promoter, why doesn't he and the other sanctioning bodies do the same thing?
Oh, but they tried the same thing. You didn't see that tournament that they were running on the weekends? I was watching it. The
WBC Grand Prix. I was watching it too.
Exactly. I was watching the heavyweight one. I was watching the lightweight one, featherweight or whatever. It was wasn't that a UBO?
Yeah. Like, what is stopping it? Because like, look, you have all these stick and ball sports that have these big leagues with 3-letter words. MOB, NFL,
Yeah.
NBA, NHL, right?
Yeah.
What do they all have in common? They have TV rights agreements with whatever networks they're
They
on,
also have
right?
something else in common. They have a trade union for the athletes.
Of course, which is what boxing needs, in my opinion, right?
Agree.
But these people right here, the sanctioning bodies, are too stubborn, right, to formulate and consolidate, an idea like that because they rather work in the shadows. They rather do all the shady stuff behind the scenes, all these backroom deals with the promoters and all that stuff to give their preferable fighter a cushy spot in the rankings. And to me, as the internet has become more ubiquitous, as social media has become more ubiquitous, more people are pointing out this inadequacy, and eventually they're gonna have to change that, or else people are not going to have faith in these things. The fighters eventually are not going to have faith in these things, and they're going to move on to this, I guess, to the UBO where they're being treated more
Listen.
fairly.
If the United States can move away from NATO and Western Europe, which is what it seems like is happening. If you follow the news and you've seen their new grand like global strategy and outlook. I don't know if it was a memo or a paper or whatever that came out that was causing all of this controversy. If
You
that
mean you didn't find it on WhatsApp, Maestro?
if that can happen, then yeah, people can get rid of these sanctioning bodies because these sanctioning bodies are turning into be just as like irrelevant as NATO at this point. I mean,
I mean, they have to like, how do I say it? They have to
they can
adapt.
justify themselves, right?
Yeah, but they have to adapt if they want to stay like uh, lenient, and they want not lenient. What's the word I'm looking for? If they want to present themselves as an actual neutral body, then they have to discuss possibly uh, applying for UBO status and try to have like promotional deals with these networks. That way, it puts the pressure on them to run it as an actual league. Because if you're gonna have these three-letter leagues, you might as well do it with the sanctioning bodies. Separate them from the promoters. Because honestly, when these TV networks sign exclusivity deals with
Mhm,
these promoters,
mhm.
just know that the boxing coverage is going to be siloed because they have a bias. Just ask Terrence Crawford because Fox Sports, right,
Mhm.
um, had a deal with the PBC, right? And I think in 2019 they showed this graphic of all the champions of the weight class,
And they didn't
and
have the WBO.
exactly, Bud Crawford was omitted. To me, that's not a responsible thing to do if you're going to present boxing as a
Well,
legitimate
I can go
sport.
even further. I mean, how many top rank fighters weren't on shows like First Take when
None.
ESPN had their deal with Top Rank?
It didn't do a
You'd have,
thing.
you'd have a fight card take place in Sports Center right after, and they don't even mention the fights that
Nah,
literally just happened on the program before Sports Center.
all they had was boxing for decoration. They never cared about the coverage about it. They never
It's a placeholder.
committed themselves to the sport. So how do they expect people to flock to top rank shows if you're not presenting it, if you're not doing the responsibility as a rights holder for these shows to promote it?
Agreed, 100%. Uh, guys, I'm going to ask you about this before I break up out of here. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would be your interest, not now, but on fight night, if Deontay Wilder gets a shot at Alexander Usyk? Ignacio, you go first.
Oh man,
1 to 10.
like a 3, straight
Really?
up.
That low?
Yeah, just because at this point, having seen what he has left, I mean, I saw that despicable club show he
Yeah.
was on in Wichita, Kansas,
I didn't watch
against
it.
Tyler Herden.
Watch it.
It was awful and it was sad. And at this point, you can just see the guy just doesn't have it anymore. His reflexes are gone. He's no longer the fighter that he was prior to any of the Fury fights. Whatever he had left got taken out of him by Parker and whoever else he fought prior to Joseph Parker. To me, honestly, if Deontay Wilder didn't take care of the money he claims he got, for all those Fury fights, then that's just another sad case of a fighter who's going to be hanging around way longer than he should have.
Yeah, yeah. Virtuoso.
Yeah.
Usyk doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with Fabio Wardley,
Mm-mm.
or
I,
Moses Itama. I'm struggling with this one because I can't really come to the conclusion that Deontay Wilder Usyk is a bigger fight than Usyk Itama or Usyk Wardley in the UK or even in Saudi. But maybe I'm wrong. What are your thoughts?
the only purpose of this fight is to leave any doubt that Usyk has beaten all of his contemporaries, and that includes Deontay Wilder. There's still people out there, well, very few of them, that believe that Deontay Wilder can pull this off. And I'm saying you're wrong.
Right.
So if this look, if there's a place where they could stage this fight, the only place I can think of is here in the United States. I can't remember the last time Usyk fought here. I think it was Michael Hunter.
Michael Hunter fight.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's been a while, right? That's the only purpose of this fight.
Well, but I mean, cocaine positive test aside, isn't Joseph Parker a contemporary? Why isn't Ajit Kabayel a contemporary? I mean, for that matter, why isn't Kubrat Pulev a contemporary? Like, we could play the contemporary game.
Nah, but he's like the last prominent contemporary of that generation. He was a title holder.
But to Ignacio's point, to Nacho's point, he's washed.
I know he's washed, but there's still people that believe in him. So that's why Usyk has to destroy what remains of Deontay Wilder's hype, pretty much. That's
honestly, at this point, Maestro, and I mean, I like Usyk. I've enjoyed watching him over the years. But honestly, I think he's on the back end of his career. And I think he just wants to get the easy fights, get the easy paydays, and then just be out. It doesn't sound like at this point he's really trying to take on all comers. And to be honest, I can't blame him because he's one of the few guys in this era that you can literally make the claim he took on all comers.
Yeah, he did.
There's very few guys outside of him, Crawford, and Inoue that you could say they fought all of the guys they had to fight.
Well,
and you can't really make a case that they ducked anybody.
For Parker and Zhang. Two guys who knocked out the guys he's talking about facing.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that case for sure for Parker, and you can make it for Caballero because Caballero is a legitimate contender right now. He's been on a roll.
Yeah.
Zhang, I'm not so sure, Maestro, because Zhang has lost. So it's not like...
No, he definitely has lost. I mean, to me, if you could do Usyk and Zhang in China, why not?
Yeah, those numbers.
Yeah, but then who's going to pay that? Because we don't even know what the economy looks like in China.
Yeah,
it's
a lot better than the economy here right now. But.
Well, that's what people say, but we don't know for a fact that that's true.
Look, if they have a Belt and Road initiative and we're too busy bombing stuff, it's pretty clear who's having a better.
They got the Shanghai. What's it called? What's wrong with it? The Cooperation Organization, the SCO. They've got the BRICS initiative. They got the Belt and Road.
Let me add this, right? Apparently, there's a lot of Uyghur Muslims walking around. Where's this genocide I've been hearing about?
Don't get me started on the propaganda.
Oh my goodness. Anyways,
I could say a lot. I could say a lot about what's going on in that. But the funny thing is, that Usyk's actually from Crimea, right?
Yeah, that's Russian territory.
Crimea is part of Russia. His family literally lives in Russia. So that whole situation is very weird to me, to be honest.
It is.
He doesn't
even
speak Ukrainian. He doesn't even speak Ukrainian. It's like the weirdest thing.
Oh, by the way, going back to Mauricio, he didn't seem too pleased when he started giving the belt to Usyk, right? After all the virtue signaling about, oh, we don't rank Russian fighters and all that. Oh, what happened there? You
Yeah,
seem pretty upset that you weren't crowning Fury.
he'll take $1 over a virtue signal any day. Clearly,
Of course,
you know.
so fake.
I mean, he saw dollar signs with Fury that he didn't see with Usyk.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's the truth.
Yeah, and that's the sad part is that Usyk has never had a legitimate home fan base that he could rely on. That's why he's had to be the road warrior.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
All right.
That's absolutely the case. So
Hey,
there you go, guys.
before I
Yeah, man.
Little intel though. I was talking about this offline with Virtuoso. So it looks like Teofimo Lopez against Shakur Stevenson for the WBO 140-pound championship. I'm really looking forward to that fight. Is going to be taking place in New York City at the Garden. So that's
Yes.
great news, right, Virtuoso?
Absolutely.
So I'm still though trying to figure out what's going on with Subriel Matias and Dalton Smith. That's my question mark.
That's a Hulu theater fight.
It's taking place at the Hulu Theater for sure.
I would guess.
I heard that it was supposed to be at the Barclays.
Oh, the Barclays? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've heard all kinds of stuff about it. Let me look that up while I ask you guys. Who do you think is the top guy at 140 right now, and who do you guys have in those two fights? Ignacio, you go first.
Well, Tio Shakur, honestly, I'm not sure what to think about that one, Maestro, because if I think what I think is going to happen, I think it's going to be a very similar fight to the Zapata fight. I don't see Tio being able to do anything that's going to deter Shakur from just basically outboxing him. I think he's going to figure out a way to step away from him, move, give him angles, slip a lot of his shots, and just counter him all night. I don't really see anything unless Tio lands something that really hurts Shakur and puts him out. Like I don't see him winning that fight. I think Shakur should end up outboxing him and winning that fight. And the other one, I honestly think Dalton Smith has a better chance, I think, than a lot of Matias opponents have had lately, because I hate to say this, but I think the wear is starting to show on Matias. I think little by little, the chin and the ability to take a shot is starting to erode. And maybe Dalton Smith might be the guy that legitimately gets him at this point.
Yeah, I actually thought that Alberto Puello beat him when I was at the fight in the summertime. I actually haven't rewatched it, but being there live, I thought that Alberto Puello actually edged the fight. I don't know if I was in the minority or majority on that one because I only spoke to a few people about it. But yeah, I actually think Shakur is going to beat Teofimo Lopez. I just I I I haven't really seen Teofimo look spectacular since he beat who would it have been?
Probably
Josh
Richard
Taylor?
Coleman.
Not even Josh Taylor looked like a skeleton walking zombie.
Yeah,
That
that
fight.
is true.
Probably
Yeah,
the Josh Taylor fight. I mean, I'm sorry. Probably the Richard Coleman fight, Maestro.
Yeah, I was about to say either Richard Comey or that guy from Louisiana. What's his name, Menard or whatever.
Yeah.
Like those are the two performances that like really stick out in my memory.
Wow, you're really reaching back.
Well, bro, I mean, how many Teofimo fights have I been to where he didn't really look at it? I was at the Sendo Martin fight.
Yeah, and I thought Martin Martin won that one.
How many times have we made fun of
Yeah, I
Tio
mean, he didn't look very good against the technician, Jermaine Ortiz. He didn't look too good against him.
He
He
did.
didn't look too good against Steve Claggett.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not even that he looked great against
Barbosa.
Barbosa. Thank you. It's just that the whole rest of the card was so bad.
Yep.
Yeah, just folded with poor performances.
Yeah. Last thing I gotta say though, before we get up out of here,
Right.
Is it just me, or would Cruz versus Roach been on like regular Showtime like 5 years ago?
Bro, that's what I was just saying.
Right?
That's not a pay-per-view.
That's a boxing after dark fight.
Yeah, like boxing or
Yes.
yeah.
Showbox.
What?
Yeah.
Pay-per-view?
Yeah.
$75?
No,
thank you.
I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, yo, 5 years ago, this would have been on like regular Showtime. Like, not Showtime.
That could have been, but PBC kept fucking around.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, man. Anyway,
you're right. Not Nacho and Virtuoso. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out.
Always a pleasure, man.
With me. It was a great conversation. I hope we do it again soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care, guys.
Peace.
That was one and only Ignacio, Don Ignacio, and Don Virtuoso. I really thank them for tuning in and for hanging out with me. They're two really knowledgeable guys I've spoken boxing to now for years, and it's honor and a pleasure to have them join me here. Do me a favor on your way out, hit the like button for me, hit the subscribe button, tell people about the channel, let them know we're here Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. UK time. This was Punchlines. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
I made hits, then I really made history. How I'm this ill, realistically, still a mystery. My bar's sick, who think of punchlines quick as me? No rhyme, I got this kind of consistent.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
I know you're gonna dig this.
The Maestro.
Fist hits the bag, 1, 2, and comes back. Single fist here, you hear that beat?
Think outside the box, then VOXing on top of them, clocking them, send them back to the corner for oxygen. Golden gloves, I know myself, I know the game, it's not a game, I know the ring, I want the belt. Finding the rhythm to hit them, split them and touch them and tip them, hit that six-pack with that quick jab. Uppercut the bro, making them fall down, break them all down, switch stands, tippy toe, in the hands, give them some more. You are not Muhammad Ali, anomaly, a Mayweather, Pacquiao, prodigy in the midst of fist to this, just S2, hot to rock, think out the box, I got the rock to speed back.
That would be a little round.
Gorilla than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even gotta taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even gotta chase.